Viewer Jeff from Washington, D.C. sent in a question, wants to know what's the worst gun I've carried. But before we get into that, let me tell you that we have a gun giveaway going on. It's happening right now, and it's absolutely free. All you got to do is click the link in the description down below to learn which brand new gun you could win. I don't really want to bash a bunch of firearms makers out there, but in reality, the worst gun that I've carried is the first gun that my father ever bought. It was a Herter's Western Derringer. He bought the gun in 1963 for like $18, mail order from the Herter's company in what is it, Waseca, Minnesota, or wherever it was. And it's a little chrome 357 Magnum Derringer with the, the inch and 7/8, two barrels, the old, like the Remington Model 41, I think it was, with the tip-up barrels. And I'll tell you, yes, I have carried that gun. And yes, it would be a reliable get-off-me gun in a very close quarters, tight battle kind of setting. But I found the gun, for the fact that its size, it's heavy for its size, very heavy, all steel gun, short barrel, and only 2 shots with the single action. You got to pull the hammer all the way back and then the spur trigger to make that thing function. I truly have test fired that gun and trained with that gun, and I wouldn't trust myself firing that gun beyond probably 6 or 7 feet. I wouldn't want to shoot that gun 7 yards. I wouldn't want to shoot that gun 21 feet at someone. The sights are rudimentary, the barrel is short, the grip is terrible. It was just something that I would not want to carry and rely on as my primary source of self-defense. Like I said, it would work really good at contact distances, and 2 shots and then wow, it becomes a pretty good club. It would certainly put the smack down on somebody like that. But looking at that as the worst gun that I would carry, and I carried it because it's what I had at the time. I didn't always have more than one gun, so I was limited with what I could carry, where and when. And remember that before 2011, it wasn't even legal for us to carry concealed firearms here in the state of Wisconsin where I live. So I was limited, and making sure that I had a deep concealment option was something that was very, very important to me. The gun served that purpose, but I don't think it would serve much more. Moving my way up the scale, I hear a lot of people complaining about inexpensive firearms. And they always come back at me with well, what's your life worth? Well, your life must be worth more than mine because you carry an $1,800 1911, okay? I have carried as a backup gun when I was on duty a Kel-Tec P11. The little 10-shot 9mm pistol. And actually it was only a 9-shot because if I loaded it all the way to 10, one of the rounds in the magazine would click every time I took a step. It was in there and I could hear it moving. So when I loaded it to 9, it would stop that clicking sound when I was walking, and it wouldn't be annoying like that. I've also carried the Sky pistol, and you know what? We did what we could to destroy that $250 gun. And no matter what we did to it, I could keep it in what I would call fighting mode, which means I could make it fire. It might not fire semi-auto, but I could slam the slide forward, get a round off, rack the slide by hand, get another round off. I could fight, maybe not effectively with that gun, but those were guns that were in the $200 range, and people would scoff at me because, oh, that's just a cheap gun. What are you doing with that? What's your life worth? Well, my life is worth exactly the amount of firearm I have with me when the fight starts. If all I could afford was a $250 gun, then that's what my life's worth, because that's all I had. And I'm going to use whatever tools are at my disposal to protect myself. Far better to buy an inexpensive gun and a bunch of ammo and do a whole bunch of training than to spend $2,000 on the latest tricked out race gun, space gun version of whatever you're getting, and then not have enough money to go out there and train and learn how to use that gun and learn when to use that gun. So it's a balance that you have to figure out. You want a gun that is comfortable, that you will carry with you every day. And it should be of a suitable caliber that you can shoot accurately and have, I guess, what we would call adequate stopping power. No pistol cartridge at all has that thunderbolt, that lightning bolt effect that you see on TV. So no matter what you're carrying, right up to and including 44 Magnum, which is way too powerful and over-penetrates and too much report and too much flash, you're not going to get the same performance that you get from a rifle out of your handgun cartridge. So if you're shooting a .380 because that's what's most comfortable and it's easiest for you to carry, it works. Lots of people have been stopped. Lots of bad guys have been stopped with 380s. If you're carrying a 9mm or a 40 or a 45 or a 10mm, as long as you can shoot that gun effectively, you can control the recoil, and most importantly, it's comfortable for you to carry every day so that you have it when you need it. That's the gun you want to have. So if you're asking me the question and you want to hear the worst gun I've ever carried, you guys have been watching the video, you know I have that Bryco 5.9. That's one of the worst handguns I've ever fired. I would never carry it. I don't trust it to shoot more than 3 or 4 rounds at a time. But if that's all you have, get the best gun that you can afford, because reliability is paramount. Accuracy is negotiable. Reliability is not. The gun has to fire when you shoot it. When you need it to fire, the gun has to fire. So if that's a $250 gun or a $2,500 gun, as long as it's reliable and you can get hits at what we would call standard combat distances, from contact out to 10 feet or so, you're going to be good. That's going to help you. You're pulled over by the police and you're carrying concealed. Do you need to do anything special in this scenario? Like tell the officer you have a gun. Click this video right next to me and I'll break down that scenario step by step on what you should do.